Welcome to the one and only Tszyu.
Hey guys, how are we doing? Welcome to Talking Boxing. It is Monday, June the 2nd. Yes, June the 2nd. And another big week in boxing. Lots happening at the moment. There's been lots of press conferences. They had the fights on the weekend. What did you think? We had the Caleb Plant fight over the weekend. What did you think? Did you agree with the decision? What did you think of Charlo? We had the Pacquiao Tszyu press conference as well, so lots happening. But welcome to everyone that's watching live here on YouTube and also listening after the fact on Spotify. It's been some really good numbers lately, so got to like that, and it's very, very much appreciated. We'll get straight into it. If you're not quite sure how this works, if you haven't watched this before, that's why it's called Talking Boxing. Put your comment in the chat there, and you decide which way the conversation goes, how the show goes, and we'll get into it. All right, we'll start with Eminem. Nice shiner, Lynden. Yes, you would see there I've got a bit of a shiner. If you haven't watched Walking Boxing, yes, I come a cropper last Friday night. There was a shoplifter in our shop. He decided to make a run for it, and stupid me ran in pursuit and come a cropper. I tripped and fell and hit my eye, and you see there my wrist as well. So not great. I did get him though. But anyway, sure to go down Eminem. I've had worse in my life. Don't worry about that. What do you got there, Shadow Boxer? What's up, everyone? Anyone here go to the Bud Crawford meet and greet? If so, how was it? Well, funny enough, Shadow Boxer, I actually spoke to Tazzy Brown this morning, Grant Brown, the organizer and promoter of the event. I think they had 18 tables at the dinner last Thursday, I think it was. So very, very happy with it. All around the country, all the events were full and sold out and all that sort of stuff. So a massive success, Shadow Boxer. And Tazzy, he's a bit tired. Don't worry about that. And I think Terence Crawford was a little bit tired as well, because I don't think he really thought or understood what he was going to be in for. And you got to remember, Tazzy's got to recoup his money. Didn't come cheap to get him out here, so he kept him busy. And I'm not quite sure Terence Crawford expected to be as busy as he was, but it was great. And it's actually, speaking of that, you're actually going to hear from the man himself tonight, because in about half an hour's time, he said if he gets time, he's actually going to call in. So you can ask him yourself, Shadow Boxer. Anyone's got any question, we'll just have a quick chat with Tazzy and get a bit of an overview how the week went. And if you guys have got any questions, you can ask Tazzy himself. But as far as I know, it went really well. Eminem, big weekend for Oz Boxing coming up. Yeah, it is. It's a big card, isn't it? Jai Pataya. Who else is on that card? We'll have a quick look. Connor Wallace is on the card, obviously. Jai Pataya. I'll have a quick look at the entire card. So this Sunday, it's on DAZN. Pay-per-view, $50. So make sure you get it. All right. So where is it coming from? Gold Coast Convention Centre. So Jai, 27-0 up against Claudio Squayo, who is 17-0. That's for the IBF Cruiserweight Championship. So we have Connor Wallace, 15-1 up against Dylan Colin, 14-1, or Colin, 14-1. Ben Mahoney, 15-0-1 up against Eddie Colmenares, who's 9-2-1. That's for the IBF Intercontinental 154-pound title. We have Max McIntyre, 7-0 against Rashaya Warren, who's 5-0. Maria Turner, 9-1 up against Jayla Tomei for the Australian female featherweight title. Austin Akuso on that card as well. Teramona Jr. He's up against Japal Singh. Okay, 6-0. And also on that card, we have Tyler Blizzard. There's a few other fights on there. Tyler Blizzard That should be a good fight, actually. 9-0. He's coming up against Rocky Ogden, who's 7-2 for the IBF Pan Pacific featherweight title. And I think I saw there, Max McIntyre. I did just mention him, sorry. Who else was looking at there? I think that was it. But that was it. But a really good card, guys. So make sure you check that one out. All right. Tom's dad, Naz. Evening all. Does anyone think Caleb Plant might have been carrying an injury? Didn't want to throw the right hand at all. He's no star, but usually more active than that. Charlo's jab is still up there. Yeah, well, I commented on this morning, Naz. Look, I wasn't impressed. Well, certainly wasn't impressed with Caleb Plant. Certainly not that impressed by Charlo either. He's still got the jab, but look, he may as well have been having a pad workout. Naz Charlo, Lamana was not really up to speed, was he? Not really up to scratch. Look, he got through it. That's all he can do. He won the fight, and that's great. But I think he still needs, for me, another couple of fights to take him seriously. And none of this, no more fights for the rest of 2025. He needs to come back and have at least one, if not two fights this year, I think. As for Plant, look, maybe he had an injury. Who knows? But it was just a really, really poor fight. And to be honest with you, Naz, I don't think even if that was the case and he had an injury on the right hand, I don't think it would have made that much difference. I think Resendiz just had that style that just made it hard for him. I think he just negated everything he did. Resendiz was just too hard. The pace was too high, and Caleb Plant just couldn't go with it. Maybe if it is the case and he had the right hand there, again, as I said, I still don't think it would have made a difference. I just think Resendiz was just on a mission, and I just think he was a better fighter on the night. And I said on the Walking Boxing episode this morning, I've never been a big fan of Caleb Plant as far as his ability goes. I think he's really limited, and I think it was shown yesterday against a fighter who was 15-2, so not exactly top sort of 5 material. I just think he was just outfought the whole way and exposed for maybe being that limited fighter that I always thought he was. But look, there's a way back. It wasn't like he was knocked out or lost a really lopsided decision. It was a close-ish fight. So he'll be back. But, yeah, really disappointing performance by him. And does it raise the question about having, when you've got two fighters on that are potentially going to fight in the next fight, it's almost like there's this jinx at the moment where you have two fighters on the same card that are going to potentially fight, and one of them gets upset. We saw it with Wilder and Joshua. Wilder got beaten by Joshua Parker. We saw it with the Times Square show recently with Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney. Ryan Garcia was upset, and then we've seen it again yesterday. So do you think sometimes they've just got to make the fight, and none of these tune-ups, just get them in and fight each other? Because there's massive amounts of money at stake. Not to say that this is a massive money fight, but still it's a big fight, probably the biggest fight both of these guys have got at this stage. So now is it in jeopardy? And even if they do fight, it's obviously not going to be anywhere near as big as it could have been. So it's an interesting conversation. All right, Carl, the boxing kangaroo. That judge, David Sutherland, should be banned from boxing forever. Is he the one that actually called it for Caleb Plant? Was he there, mate? I'll just quickly look at that decision or the results there. Where is it? Sweet Hands. Love that nickname, by the way, for Caleb Plant. All right. Yes, Dave Sutherland, 115, 113. Yeah, I'm with you there, mate. I cannot see how Caleb Plant won 7 rounds in this fight. I probably gave him 4, maybe 5. If you're really stretching it, you maybe could have given him 5, but I had it 8 rounds to 4. Look, I thought he won 3 of the first 4, maybe even 4 of the first 5, maybe 1 later in the fight if you're being generous, but I couldn't give him any more than 5 rounds, mate. I just couldn't. So, yeah, David Sutherland, I think he was just watching the A side and forgot that the B side was actually doing a pretty good job. Mutsy. I thought Tim spoke really well in the press conference, respectful and relaxed. Yeah, I think the same, Mutsy. I think, look, I just think him and his team have maybe had a sit down and a talk about the way he should be talking, the language he should be talking, and the body language you sort of show in the lead up to these fights. He copped a lot of flack last time in the Murtazalia fight because in that week, if you do remember, well, I hate to say it, but he was a little bit lippy that week and definitely got ahead of himself and obviously paid the ultimate price. But I'm with you there, Mutsy. I thought he spoke professionally, I think. the way he probably should for someone that's in his position. Now, I think he, as I said, maybe got ahead of himself in the Murtazalia fight. Maybe he was speaking like he was the A side and he was going on to do this and do that. Forgot that Murtazalia was a very, very capable world champion and obviously proved that. And I just think over the weekend, the way Tim spoke was respectful of Sebastian Fundora and his team. They were respectful of Tim as well, even to the point where he spoke well of Samson Lukovic, the promoter of Sebastian Fundora. They did have words the first time around. I think Tim might have called him a weasel. So, no, I thought it was good. And I think Tim said it the way it should have been said. Look, I'm really thankful for getting an opportunity. I hold no grudges towards Fundora. Just hope to get it on and hope to get a win this time and hope for the KO, all that sort of stuff. And I think on the flip side, I thought Sebastian Fundora spoke really well also. So, I think it's going to be a little bit different than that in the ring, though, Muchie. I think once they actually get going, I think we're going to see some fireworks, and I think it's going to be a really, really good fight. Tough fight, I think it's going to be without the blood, but I think it's still going to be a really, really tough, even fight. Naz. I forgot about Justice Huni. Of course I did. Looking forward to Justice getting his crack this weekend. Bit nervous how open he is after throwing the right and how good Wardley is with his pull counters, but hoping Huni can get it done. Well, make no mistake, Naz, Wardley is a dangerous fighter. He's had a lot of knockouts. I'll just bring up his record as we speak there, actually. And the fact that it's actually in England is not ideal, but credit to Justice Huni for taking the challenge and going over there. It's going to be a really tough weekend for Mick Francis, isn't it? He's got one fighter here in Australia and one fighter over in England. So he's 18-0-1 with 17 knockouts. He's Fabio Wardley. So the only fight that draw was against Fraser Clark. Yep, that's right. Who was the other decision win against? It must have been early in his career, I reckon. I'll just go through his record there. Oh, well, there you go. It was actually in his pro debut against Jacob Wojcik back in 2017. He won a 4-round decision. And Wojcik was 8-17-2, and he couldn't get him out of there, even though it was only a 4-rounder. But he's had 17 knockouts and that one draw against Fraser Clark, and that was pretty comprehensively put to bed in the rematch, wasn't it? So that was in October last year with that first round knockout when I think he pretty much literally broke his face, didn't he? But look, now, make no mistake, it's going to be a tough one for Justice Huni, but I think he can do it. I really do. Look, Wardley's competition hasn't exactly been, I don't think, first class. Fraser Clark, yeah, okay. He was 8-0 when he fought him. But apart from that, hasn't really had any names on his record. And I think Justice Huni is going to really surprise a lot of people. I think a lot of people have seen Justice and been impressed by him, but I think they're going to be even more impressed when they see him in this fight. Now, of course, he's always open to a big punch from Wardley. That's obvious he can punch. But and I know there has been the questions on Justice's chin, but look, a lot of fighters get rocked and actually have pretty good chins. I think Justice will be okay. Now, it might be famous last words, but I think Justice Huni can pull it off this week, and I really do. Now, that's, I think, it'll be Sunday morning, won't it? So it'll be very, very early Sunday morning. I think I'll be getting up to watch that one, and then we're into Jai's fight that night. I think the UFC's on that day as well, so it's going to be a big day if you're a combat sports fan. We've got the UFC and the fight, Jai's fight on at our pub, so it's going to be a busy one for us. So, but looking forward to seeing how Justice goes. Naz, look, and no matter what happens, Naz, Justice Huni will be back. He's only a young guy. He'll be back. What is he, 25? I think he is. He's not an old guy. For a heavyweight, he's a baby. So even if it doesn't go according to plan for him this week, he'll be fine. He'll be back. Jesus M, happy Monday. Same to you there, mate. Carl, what the hell was that? Jesus, that was, I'm not sure whether you heard that. Was Siri. You can believe that. Just answered me. Jeez. Just making sure no one's watching me. Siri just popped up there. I don't know what the hell I said, but it activated Siri on my computer that I didn't even know was activated. There you go. All right. What was that, Carl? Take it, Tara sorted you out. You mean with the injuries? Not really, Carl. Well, it's funny because I didn't actually tell her. I got home on Friday night, and it was late. It was around midnight. I couldn't be bothered going through the whole thing. I knew she'd worry, so I just went to bed, and I was sore. I was really sore, and so I didn't tell her till the next morning because I knew. I got up early, went for the walk. She wouldn't have seen me that early because the eye hadn't started to come out yet. It was just a little. I had a cut on the top of my eyebrow there, but my eye hadn't started to bruise. And I went for the walk, and she hadn't seen me when I got up. But I knew when I got home there was going to be some evidence. And I thought, well, I better tell her because my wrist was killing me, and my eye was about to blow up. So I said, look, I don't want to worry you, but look, there was an incident last night at the pub, and of course she was horrified, but. Once I told her the story, she had a bit of a laugh. I'm a 50-year-old man. I should be knowing better than that. And look, all his style was about $10 worth of alcohol, by the way. I did get it back, but it's the principle of the thing. So I almost broke my wrist and fractured my head. I've got sore hammies and shins and everything from the run. I know we'll get onto the boxing in a minute, but I'll just tell you the quick story about it. He ran out of the bottle shop. And it's like instinct kicks in. I've got a thief who's stealing my property. So I bolted after him, got him, slipped down. That's when I hit my head and must have hit my wrist. I can't even remember doing it. I remember hitting my head, that's for sure, because I felt the impact and thought, yeah, that's not going to be good tomorrow because I bruise really easily. Didn't even feel the wrist or anything like that. And I was chasing him down the main street on one of the main roads in Bendigo. And I'm chasing him down. We're dodging cars, or cars are dodging us. And I thought I'd lost him. He went down a side street. I had him in my sights, but I thought, I'm not as fit as I used to be, and almost gave up the chase. And for some reason, he doubled back. He did a U-turn, and I was like, right, I got you now, you little prick. And I nabbed him. He had a half bottle of Jim Beam that he'd drunk before coming in. He lost that. That went everywhere. So not only did he not get the alcohol he went to steal from us, he lost the bottle that he already had. So... but I got him. I didn't bother calling the cops. No use in this day and age because they don't give a shit. But I think a tenant outside the house we're outside of, they caught him because he was just wandering around being a pest once I let him go. And to answer your question, no, someone said there were a couple of people said, did you give him? I didn't give him one. I let him go. I'll give him an opportunity to go. All right. Too many witnesses around. All right. So I let him go. And I think they called the police because he was just wandering around and being a bit of a pest to them afterwards. But, yeah, that was my Friday night. But, since she went and got me the brace there, Carl, treated the eye a little bit. But apart from that, just put up with me feeling sorry for myself for the last couple of days, mate. That's about it. What's that, Naz? How's the wrist after catching a little turd? Yeah, all good, mate. Also, well, I haven't had it x-rayed yet. I'm holding off, Naz. I won't lie, it's still really, really sore. Now, I've had some people say, is it the scaphoid or something? It's not that. It's not sore. I think the scaphoid's around here somewhere. That's not sore. It's the actual wrist is really sore. I'm hoping it's just a bad jar or a sprain or something like that. I'm going to hold off to the end of the week or something before I get it x-rayed. I hate going to doctors. I hate waiting around. I hate everything that goes with it. So I'm hoping that it's just a bad jar and it'll come good. But I've got this to wear for the rest of the week anyway. All right. Big J. Hey, mate, nice shiner, but the publican is not supposed to beat up the patrons. That went out 20 years. Mate, I didn't beat up the patron. I felt like it. Don't get me wrong. The fact that someone's trying to steal from me, I took great offence to it, Big J, but I'm not stupid, mate. I'm too old. Well, I thought I was too old to be chasing him down the main street, and that didn't stop me. But I understand you can't do that these days because, hey, the thief's always the victim. If I had to give him a couple, Big J, I'd be the bad guy, wouldn't I? This is the world we live in. So he'll get away scot-free, and I'm a bad guy because I've hurt his feelings and broken his bottle of alcohol. Such a bad guy, aren't I? Anyway, all right, we'll move on. Asbot, Tim looks really fresh and relaxed, super healthy. That's good. I think Fundora are going to be a handful in round, where have we got there? I think have I got the rest of your comment? Maybe not. Mate, he's going to be a handful, mate. No mistake about that. He will be a handful, and I've been pretty vocal about this. A lot of people say, you read the comments online, and look at the way Tim lit him up in the first 2 rounds of the first fight. This time without the blood, it's going to be one-sided, and I don't see it. Sebastian Fundora is a very good fighter. Now, yes, he's been knocked out against a former Tszyu opponent in Brian Mendoza. Yes, Tim really got to him in that in that first fight, but we're talking 2 rounds, guys. 2 rounds of a 12-round fight. It's going to be a tough one. And I think Sebastian Fundora will have improved a lot. Tim's obviously improved as well. Well, has he? This is going to be the big question. The Joey Spencer fight, look, he looked great, but Joey Spencer's not Sebastian Fundora. We won't go over the Murtazalia fight again. I'm pinning my expectations on what I think Tim can do and what I think Sebastian Fundora is capable of, if that makes sense. And I think if Sebastian Fundora fights the best he can and Tim fights to the ability that I think we all think he can, I think Tim wins. But it is not going to be an easy fight whatsoever. And to his credit, I don't think Tim thinks that either. Sebastian Fundora, of course, doesn't. I think he's prepared for absolute warfare this time. And for a really skinny, looks like he's a really vulnerable type of guy, doesn't he? Sebastian Fundora, he's a tough dude. To get through what he went through in that first fight with a broken nose and everything else, he's a tough guy as well. But I think if Tim fights the way I think he needs to. We all know he's super talented, Tim, but he needs to fight the right fight. If he goes out there and tries to bomb Sebastian Fundora out, I think we could see a repeat of the first fight. I really do. I think Sebastian Fundora might keep his distance, box patiently, and could outbox Tim again. If Tim boxes patiently, still aggressive, but patiently, and looks at his punches, thinks through his combinations and all that sort of stuff, I think he can get to Sebastian Fundora. Maybe even stop Sebastian Fundora late. But certainly I'm under no illusions, Asbot, like you, that it's going to be a one-sided fight. I think it's going to be a tough fight. What's that, Carl? Just give us a safety wave if you're not okay. I'm all right, mate. I'm all right. Oh, hang on. That's what you're saying. I take it Tara sorted you out. Okay, sorry. You probably said that later in the comments. Yes. Yes. Yeah. No, it's all right. Well, that's what happens when you get home late, Carl. Sorry, I missed you the joke. Apologies about that. But yes, no, all good, Tara. No, she would never do that. All right. Asbot should read Fundora will be a handful in the second fight, not a walkover. Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, Carl Resendiz turned up the fight. He did. I thought for probably the first 3 rounds, I thought that, geez, Caleb Plant looks pretty good here, and Resendiz probably looks like the guy that I thought he was, a limited type of walk-up guy who was specifically picked for Caleb Plant to get a good hit out. Maybe mirror the style a little bit. I was going to say mirror the style of Charlo, but he probably doesn't, does he? I think he was sort of more brought in to give Caleb Plant some good rounds, and it just blew up in his face, didn't it? And after about the 5th round, I just thought it was all one-way traffic. Thought Resendiz fought a really good fight. He was patient for the first 4 or 5 rounds, knew Caleb Plant would fade, and then just picked it up from there. And as I said, I thought it was all one-way traffic. So, Shadow Boxer, what was the thief trying to steal? What did you do once you caught him? Come sneaky kidney punch. No, I didn't, Shadow Boxer. No, he tried to steal, well, because he couldn't get into the bottle shop. Okay, we've got a gate there. The counter's at the door, but you can get in about half a metre. That's about it. All the fridges are behind the counter. So it's like you walk into a little bar and you got to pick what you want. We get it for you, okay? So when he couldn't, he looked around. You could see his mind ticking over, and we had some little spirit bottles, the little minis on the counter, which I've told him not to put on the counter, by the way. But they were, and he grabbed a handful and bolted. So that's what he tried. I think they were Fireball minis, Shadow Boxer. I don't think it would have mattered. He would have taken anything. But all right, Big J. Crawford is not the most charismatic guy, but still a nice bloke. I think by the end of it, Big J, I think he was tired. If that's what you're talking about on Thursday, I think he'd had enough. But again, Tazzy will be on in about 10 minutes, so he'll tell us. I think he'd had enough at the end of it. Was a bit buggered. G'day, Ray Lee. How you doing there? Big J says still thinks Canelo beats him. Yeah, well, it's going to be a fascinating fight, Big J. That's if they can get it organised. They still haven't got a location, have they? So, or a promoter. What's with the crowns in the chat? I don't know. Have no idea. Carl? I can't see it from my end, but I'll have a look as we go down. All right, Ray Lee, I was really impressed with Tim's composure at the press conference. Looking forward to that card. Yeah, it's going to be a ripper. Now, that card, speaking of that, I brought it up today. It's going to be a really good card. I had a look at that today. And actually, it was reported on one of the sites today that Liam Wilson was almost on the card. He's, of course, fighting on Liam Paro's card. When is that? August, is it? Whenever it was, June? Or I can't even remember when it was. There you go. It was announced over the weekend. I'll have a look in a sec. And actually, it's not on BoxRec yet, but I did see at Rayleigh, and the card looks good. Pitbull Cruz is on there, isn't he? Now, who's he fighting again? Fierro, was it? In a rematch? So, either way, I agree with you, Rayleigh. Should be a ripper card, and let's see what the ticket prices are going to be like when they're released, I think, tomorrow or the next day. I'll be at the Cairns card. Don't mind the lineup. All right, now you've said that, I'm going to type it in and have a quick look. Well, so let's see if it comes up. Let's see if it's up there. Yep, normally they're pretty good. No limit. Where is he? Caboolture, there he is. All right, yes, it is up. So he's fighting Ayrton. Ayrton Osmar and Jimenez, or Gimenez, is it? So Liam Paro fighting Jonathan Navarro. Vegas Larfield on the card. Kira Rushton's on the card. Callum Peters is there. And they are probably the main names. I reckon the rest of the card would be local fighters, I would think, to fill the card and maybe get a bit of a crowd. Because I noticed, where is it? Yeah, Aaron Stahle's on that card. Remember him? He was Nikita Tszyu's first opponent and was stopped in the second round 3 years ago, that was. So he's on the card. So he's from up that way, so it makes sense that he's on the card. All right. Carl Resendiz stepped away with the fight after round 5. Yeah, I agree, mate. I probably had it 4 rounds to 1 after round 5, and then I thought you could have pretty much made a case that Resendiz won every round, maybe bar one. If you want to give Plant 1 round, it's still 7-5, so a bit of a shutout for me. Well, not a shutout, but you know what I mean. Down the back stretch, it was pretty one-sided. Naz, who would you prefer for Canelo? Eubank, Shiraz, or Charlo? I think Charlo in Vegas would be the biggest build-up. I think that's a hard sell, Naz. The fact that he fought Jamel Charlo and we saw what happened there, I think the casuals won't be able to differentiate. They'll be saying, oh, he's fighting this guy again. That's if they even remember the first Charlo fight. I think Eubank, Naz. If it's in Vegas, well, that could maybe be Charlo. But then on the other hand, all the English fans would travel over from England, wouldn't they? So, no, I think Eubank would be, apart obviously after Crawford, I think Eubank is the one I'd prefer. Just because of the drama to it, you know, the theatre of that fight. Canelo versus Eubank, especially if it's in England, I think it'd be massive. Flash Wilson for the best boxing channel in Australia. Wow, geez. I hope you're referring to this one. Flash, appreciate that, mate. So smash that like button, folks, and keep the momentum building. Yeah, no, that's great. Really appreciate that, Flash. Naz, Plant has never been good down the stretch. No, he hasn't. It's just a habit, isn't he? He did it against Canelo. He did it against Benavides, where he just faded, didn't he? So, and he's not a big puncher or anything either. So as you fade during the fight, I mean, sometimes you've still got the power. The fact he's got no power, he's just, it's like, as they say, you know, a pellet gun up against a shotgun, isn't it, really? So Eminem, Bud has said his purse for the Canelo fight is $10 million. We believe in that. No, I don't think so, Eminem. I think it'd be about 3 times that, wouldn't it? It'd have to be at least twice that. $10 million. Wouldn't he have got that for the Errol Spence fight, you would have thought? Yeah, I think it'd be a bit more than that. Well, especially if Turki Al-Sheikh has said in his opinion that this fight with Canelo and Crawford will be bigger than Mayweather and Pacquiao. Actually, Richard Schaefer said that as well, who the ex-Golden Boy executive who promoted Mayweather Pacquiao. I got no, what do you call it, lofty ambitions for this fight. I really don't. I think it will do okay. If you want to put it up against Mayweather and Pacquiao, though, I mean, 4.6 million Mayweather and Pacquiao did. I'd be surprised if it did a third of that, which is what, 1.5, so just over 1.5. That's about the maximum I think this fight is capable of, is about 1.5. I just don't think the interest is there. Yes, both great fighters, both, yes, massive names in the sport. But for me, I'm still not that intrigued about it. Now, both of them are coming off very lackluster wins. Let's face it. Both of them are getting on in years. It's not like they're fighting at their peak. Yes, I'm looking forward to it in some respect, but I'm certainly not counting the days. I'm not seeing it. Look, there's plenty of other fights coming along that I'm going to be looking forward to a lot more than this. Now, okay, it's a big fight. I'm happy to take it. Better than not having the fight at all. But yeah, as I said, I'm not counting down the days there, Eminem, that's for sure. But I would think that he'd be getting more than 10 million. He'd have to. Maybe Tazzy would be able to tell us. Maybe he told him a little bit more than that. Carl, how about Manny Robles in upset wins? AJ versus Ruiz, Donaire versus Magdalena, Ramirez versus Espinoza, and Plant versus Resendiz as a trainer. That's pretty good. It's extremely good, Carl. And I'm with you. As soon as I saw Manny Robles in the corner, I thought, geez, Resendiz is a bit of a chance here. I hadn't seen much of Resendiz at all. Maybe one or two of his fights. That was it. It might have even just been highlights. I can't remember seeing that much of him. Except, what was it? Might have been, was it last year or the year before he fought on the undercard or one of the big fights? Anyway, that's where I saw him. I remember thinking, yeah, okay, solid. But that was about it. But when I saw Manny Robles in his corner, I thought, geez, this guy's going to turn up. It's a bit like when you see Robert Garcia in someone's corner. You just know. And he got the job done again, Carl. And he's a lovely, lovely guy, Manny Robles, too. We met him back in 2017 when we were at his gym with the twins. The twins, I think Oscar Valdez was training with him at the time. So was Michael Conlon. So, yeah, really good trainer, mate. Richard, who do you reckon will win out of Tyson Pedro versus Chris Terzeski? And do you remember Glenn Kunga? Is it Kunga Kelly? I certainly remember Glenn Kelly. I didn't know that was his nickname, Richard, but I do remember him. Very, very good fighter, mate. That is for sure. And I think, was it him or his brother was inducted in the Hall of Fame? Whoever it was, I think the other one has just been inducted as well. So, no, very, very good fighter, Richard. As for Pedro and Terzievsky, I'm going to say Pedro. Look, he's not overly experienced, obviously, in the boxing world, but Terzi, can I ever pronounce his name? Terzievsky, with probably his biggest win has been the Paul Gallen win. He hasn't really done much since then, has he? So I'm gonna back Tyson Pedro to win that fight. Cal Jane, sorry, Plant said he thought he won the first 5 rounds. I would have given him first 3. He was rocked in the 4th. I gave Resendiz the 4th round as well, Cal. That was probably the one round in the first 5 I gave Resendiz. So it's at 4-1. And then I thought Resendiz pretty much won every round after that, maybe bar 1. So I had 8-4, maybe 7-5. But no way that Caleb Plant won that fight. Especially when he spent the last, 4, 5 rounds, whatever, just on the back foot, not engaging at all. Resendiz, who was pushing the pace, throwing the better punches, throwing combinations. Caleb Plant was more just jab, hold, move, wasn't he, really? So... all right, so Tazzy just sent me a text saying he'll be on in a sec, guys. So we'll look out for that one. But, yeah, certainly didn't do enough to win. Yeah, Richard Plant is kidding himself, but he's talented. Somewhat talented, Richard. Obviously, he's talented. He won a world title. Who am I to say he's not talented? But as talented as some of the other world-class fighters, I don't think so, Richard. I just think whenever he's come up against a really good fighters, he's struggled. Where is his, where is it? I'm going to put up his name here. Where was it? No, I might have to type it in. Here he is there. I mean, you go back through his record. I mean, being beaten by Canelo and David Benavidez. He beat Durrell, but, I don't know. I mean, even these world title wins, he's never really, in my opinion, had a really big win. So maybe the fact that he's stepped up, and there's no coincidence the really good fighters that he's fought, they're the ones he's lost. So I don't know. As I said, I'm not going to rubbish him. He's a former world champion, but I've just never been that impressed by him, Richard. Naz, can't believe Nonito is coming back. We need old guys. We need an old guys league in boxing for these guys to come back and earn some coin. I've been saying that for a while, Naz. Why can't we have almost a masters league of boxers where it's I know there's masters, around the world with the amateurs and that sort of stuff, but some sort of thing where if the Pacquiao's probably a bit different because he's probably got enough left to do what he's doing now, but the Donairs and the Ricky Hattons and Ferreiras and Morales, all these Medanas or whoever it might be who want to get back in the ring, maybe there is some sort of league where they can have World Masters belt, and these guys can actually fight for it without risking the or risking their health against younger fighters. Because when you think about it, if they had a World Masters title, let's just say it's Nonito Donaire as the World Masters title, well, guys from similar weight divisions and that age can come back and challenge him for his World Masters belt. I'm sure people would still pay. I mean, who was it? It was Hatton and Barrera, was it? Had that fight. Now, if they fought, I mean, there'd be plenty of people who would pay good money to watch that fight for a Masters world title. So why not create and give these guys an opportunity to keep fighting, as long as they're in good health, of course, to keep fighting and earn paydays without the risk of, fighting these young up-and-comers. I'm with you there, Naz. Richard, Wardley's a bit like Wilder, one-punch specialist. Yep, I agree there, mate. Naz, at least the Wardley Huni undercard is crap, so don't need to get up too early. I haven't actually had a look at the undercard, Naz, but I'll be up for the main event, and that's it, mate. It's Sunday morning. It's going to be a big day, so I won't be rushing out of bed. And we've also got the Mighty Blues and the Bombers on that night as well. It's going to be a big day on Sunday, so I've got to get my beauty sleep. Eminem, Nonito Donaire's opponent, Andreas Campos, is a Tony Tolge fighter. Is that right? Well, I thought it made sense. That was because I thought his name rang a bell. Now it makes sense. Sorry. Good call. I thought that name sounded familiar. Where is he? Andreas Campos. Where is he? 17-2-1. So he's from Chile, isn't it? Yeah, there it is. There you go. And he has fought in Australia before, back in 2003 in September. He beat Ben Ligas. Lost to Sonny Edwards before that, so that was the only fight he's had in Australia. Yeah, there you go. I knew the name rung a bell there, Eminem. There you go. The penny didn't drop on that one. What's that, Shadowboxer? That's my question answered. Was it a teenager? No, it wasn't a teenager, Shadowboxer. Probably mid-20s, I would say. Maybe mid-20s. Are you coming to Cairns? I don't know yet, OG. We will see. Let me just check. When was I didn't see it before, was it? Did I? Liam Paro. The date of the fight is completely. What is it? Hang on, get out the road there. June 25th. There you go. I had it in my mind it was July for some reason. Jonathan Navarro. Okay, we will see. OG, my birthday's a couple of days after that, mate, so we will see. And I'm going overseas on July the 8th, so a couple of weeks later. So we'll see, mate. I'll be honest, at this stage it's doubtful, but you never know. You never know. What's that, Explicit? Did you get the chance to watch a Hernandez-Davis fight on the undercard? No, I didn't. Explicit? I didn't. I watched Kamal Moton, and that was it. And hang on, was that the I was doing some work and I was on the phone. I was actually watching that on the side. So if that's the one you're talking about, it was a good fight. If that was the one you're referring to, because I was on the computer, I was on the phone, and I wasn't really taking much notice of that there. Explicit. I'll just see that event there. I think it's the one. It must be the one you're talking about, because I didn't have that many fights on, did they? It was about 5. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, that wasn't a bad fight, Explicit. For what I saw of it anyway. Again, I was only sort of watching it out the corner of my eye, but that was a good fight. I was surprised, though, that the scorecards were so lopsided. I mean, it seemed like it was a pretty even fight. Was it Hernandez looked like he'd won the fight to me, but I thought Davis did a bit better than, what's the scores there? 10 rounds, well, on all 3 cards. He won every round, and with a knockdown as well. So, yeah, entertaining anyway, Explicit, wasn't it? James, I think Fundora will be better this time. I agree, James. Tony, sorry to be a downer, but between family law court, a spiteful wife, and limited access to see his daughters, a lifelong mate had enough. And end of his life, boys, just reach out and talk to someone is there. I'm really sorry to hear that there, Tony, mate. Yeah, that's tragic, mate. That's not good, mate. So yeah, condolences to you there, Tony. Really sad to see that. All right. I'll brighten the mood a bit here there, guys, and we're going to bring in, well, I can see him there. It is the one and only Tazzy Brown. How are you, Tazzy?
Good, Lynden. Thanks for having me back on, mate.
No worries, mate. What's going on tonight? You're back amongst it?
Yeah, I just finished training my fighters, a few of my amateurs that I got.
Good stuff. Well, mate, we've had a few people. We started the show actually with everyone wondering how the event went. Just tell us how it went. Apart from, I know you finished with the dinner in Melbourne, but explain the whole trip, how it went, and more importantly, what did Terence Crawford think of the whole experience?
Yeah, no, he enjoyed it, man. He had a good time. He obviously a bit of jet lag. He arrived on Monday and it was pretty much bang, bang, bang because we had a lot of events organised, and it was a good day. We started off in the Gold Coast with Fidel. We had I took him to the Koala Bear Park first, kangaroos, Tassie Devils, and that's why we see a bit of Australia's wildlife. And then went to Fidel's gym, done a seminar there and a bit of a meet and greet. Pete Fidel was the MC. Then we went to the then we stayed on the Gold Coast, and there was a dinner with Dry Potato at the Star Casino later that night. So then we the next day went down to Brisbane. We done a thing with Mick Francis and Tasman Fighters. Had a few of these fighters there, Max McIntyre and a few guys, and that was good. Then we went to another gym in Brisbane. What's his name? Very good fighter, undefeated southpaw.
Medini.
Yep, Luke Maldini. He was very, very hospitable. Mike Cassides was there as well. In the crowd, he asked Terence a question, and Terence knew who he was. Then went to Melbourne. Melbourne was flat out, mate. We went to the Ellis gym, Jake Ellis' gym. We went to Hammer's gym. We went to, Darcy Ellis' gym. We fitted in a lunch with Anthony Mundine and a few guys. And then we topped it off with my dinner, the gala night with Danny Green was there, Anthony Mundine, Sam Solomon, Pierre Karam, Julian Holland, Michael Rafa, Joel Camilleri, Stan the Man Longanetti. So that was the entree. They got interviewed before we rocked up, and so I planned it. Then up to Sydney, saw the Opera House, Sydney Harbour Bridge, all that, a bit of tourist stuff. Then we're at Billy Hussein's gym, Body Punch, with everyone, Skinny Hussein, Hussey, Sakio Bika, heaps of former world champions there, and him and Mundine played table tennis and basketball. Also, Greedy played table tennis against him in Melbourne, and even believe it, Sam Solomon played Mundine and table tennis. They hate each other. They played 4-3 times, and so I brought them together. So that's just unbelievable. And the Sydney one was good, and he really got on well with all the boys, like Skinny Hussey and all the Hussein boys, and he really enjoyed himself. Then to finish off was Saturday morning, Tony Vecchio's gym, by the Boxing Club, and that was really good. And that was the last one before he went to the airport. So it was a bit of a whirlwind tour, but he enjoyed Australia. Wants to come back and do it a bit more holiday-wise because I put him to work.
I bet you did, yeah, as I was saying before. So I'm sure he'll be able to afford to come back, mate, because there have been reports about what he's going to make. Someone said it was $10 million before for Canelo, but it's got to be more than that, doesn't it?
Mate, it's about $80 million, mate. Like
yeah. Well, I said 30, but yeah, that's still a fair bit.
I think they're splitting something like 200 million, and I think he's got 60-40 Canelo.
So what's he thinking already? So now he's obviously going to go back and start his training. So what does that entail, and what are his thoughts ahead of the camp?
Well, I had the honour of holding him on the pads at my gym in Truganina, Athlete Performance. That was awesome. He didn't want any video footage, but we done some pads. Watch him how he goes, and he switches each round, right hand, left hand, and he's going into a pre-camp first. He always does a pre-camp before the actual training camp, just to get his body in shape and get used to the hard training. And then he'll go into the full camp, mate, up in Colorado, where he always does it. And he's got a few guys already in mind to spar that are like Canelo, and there's no doubt in his mind he's going to be successful and win his third undisputed title over 5 divisions.
So what is his mindset or what does he think that? Why does he think that he's a chance to beat Canelo? What's his sort of or his mindset at the moment about or how he can get the job done?
He doesn't believe he can be beat.
Well, that's a start, isn't it?
Mindset doesn't mean beat, so he doesn't think anyone can beat him. Canelo is a pretty predictable fighter, legend, we know, but lately he hasn't looked too good. He hates movers. He hated Lara, hated Mayweather, hated the last guy, hated Bivol. Crawford will box and fight. He won't run like the last guy, but he will in and out like Floyd. Hits a bit harder than Floyd. And like he said, everyone's saying, how do you prepare for Canelo? He said, how does Canelo prepare for me?
Good point.
I switch. I'm long. I'm rangy. I've got some power. So how does Canelo prepare for him?
Yeah, no, it's a good point. Well, what does he think about the size difference? That seems to be everyone's opinion about why he can't. Now, I don't agree with that, but most people that don't think he has a chance think it's all about the size. But when when they were actually facing off together, they didn't seem like, especially height-wise, I think Crawford might have even been a bit taller.
Crawford's taller, man. It's just the thickness, that. But as you know, Lynden, like in a fight, the size only matters really when you're in close and you can feel their strength. But Crawford's an ex-wrestler. A lot of guys get a shock how strong he is. He has a good foundation with his legs. And I think Canelo might get a surprise. But look, if you're in there wrestling with Canelo on a clinch, that's stupid.
Yeah.
I don't think he'll do that. So the size only matters really when you're in close. Power-wise, I think he can handle Canelo's power. I really do.
What was his thoughts when they faced off in Saudi Arabia? Because that was probably the first time he's ever faced off with Canelo. What was his...
Yeah, I asked him that. He said it was all good, just nothing too much. A lot of respect there between both of them.
Okay. So what was his thoughts about being here in Australia? What did he like the most? I know he didn't get to see a lot, but what was his impressions of Australia?
Yeah, he liked it all. He liked the people were so friendly. Everyone was so embracing and warm with him. He really liked Sydney. Fortunately, we only had the one day. That was the smallest part of the thing, but liked the Darwin Harbour, and the weather was good that day. But he liked this. Everyone was great, mate. He got to see some, had some good dinners and lunches, and experienced some Australian hospitality. Seen some Aussie animals. We give him a jar of Vegemite. He hasn't tasted it yet, but no, look, it was really good. Just a bit rushed, that's all. But he only be given 5 days and to fit in 3 cities, and I done my best, mate. So he said, Tazzy, you got a big heart. You're a hustler. And I appreciate you, my bro. And yeah, so it was really good.
Oh, that's awesome, mate. Now, I did see that you presented him with a Collingwood jumper at one stage. Did you? I can't argue with you, mate. They're the best team in it at the moment. But did you actually consider contacting the footy club and getting him down there, or just wasn't time?
Yeah, I did, but there was no time. They wanted us to go to a game Friday, but we went to Sydney Friday.
Oh, yeah, okay. It's a pity they couldn't get him to the club and present him. I'm sure all the players would have loved it.
I could have done that, but they weren't offering money, mate. So I needed to pay for him to be here. I wasn't taking freebies, even if it is Collingwood. Okay.
So they did actually offer to have him there?
Yeah, but no money involved. So fuck them. Fuck anyone. No one gets the free ride.
I understand. I get it. I
brought him over. Unless you're contributing. Nah. A lot of people ask me for fucking charity. Mate, they're not the ones stressing about coming up all that to come up with. So if you didn't help me during the tour, it's a big fuck you.
How did you go actually with that? Was there lots of requests for? I know he did some mainstream media stuff, but how'd you go with people wanting him on shows and doing?
I rejected a lot of people.
Yeah,
mate. What are they doing for me? What are you doing for me to help him come here? Nothing. So you can stick your little shows up your ass. All these guys, mate. Fuck them.
Yeah, no.
Jim, here's this, here's that. Well, okay. How much are you paying for his accommodation, your business class flights? So look, I've done it pretty much on my own. Billy Hussein helped me heaps, and so did Russell from Taylor Made. Fundora was good, and a few others, but mate, not much help, brother, from the boxing community in Australia, especially in Melbourne, was pretty average. But
was it?
Yeah, I brought the GOAT, the future GOAT here. No one can take it away from me, and like I say, stay tuned for the next big announcement coming soon by Tazzy Brown Promotions. So
I know you won't spill it now, but what's some of the things you're looking to do in the future with your promotions? Just not boxing, or you're looking to do some other stuff? Oh, there he goes. Hang on, I think I asked the wrong question there because he's hung up on me. I'm sure he'll be back in a sec, guys. I'll just wait for him here. Just wait for him to call back. He's obviously got a bit excited and hit the hang up button, I think. So I did make the mistake, though, didn't I, of just asking that question about people wanting interviews and everything, because I know it's been a bit of a sore point with Tazzy, that he hasn't had a lot of love from some, and the ones that did want to give him love weren't prepared to pay for it. So we'll just wait for him to come back. I'll go back here for a sec. I'm sure he'll be back in a sec. Naz, yeah, great interview with Bud by Tazzy on his channel. I actually haven't had a chance to watch that, Naz. I'm sure he'll be back on in a bit. I wonder if he's been pulled over by the cops or something there. I think he was pulled over, wasn't he? Anyway, She'll get back on. All right, James, what do you reckon of Huni's chances against Wardley? I think Wardley will steamroll Huni. Well, I think, look, if I had to pick one, I'm going to say the fact it's in England, maybe stick with Wardley, but I think Justice Huni is a massive chance, James. I don't think it's going to be a matter of steamrolling him at all. So, Shadow Boxer, what's the backstory? Tazzy, not familiar, ex-fighter promoter. He's called Tazzy for a reason, Shadow Boxer, from Tasmania. Mr. Tasmania down there, but he had, I can't remember how many amateur fights, but he represented Tasmania at the Nationals, and I think he might have even went on a couple of overseas trips. Turned pro under Jeff Fennick and Johnny Lewis, and he's just been involved ever since, mate. He's a promoter now. I think he's done 20-odd shows, and now he's into this sort of stuff as well. And he's also works for, or did work for Fight Hype as well. So he's a reporter, promoter, you name it. Shadow Boxer, he's done it in boxing, Tazzy. And as you can see there, he's a character. I can't believe he hasn't actually come back on yet. Anyway, Toby, g'day from the UK. Lyndon and all the rest of my Aussie brothers. Welcome to you too, Toby. I'm hoping our man gets the better of your man this weekend over there with Huni over Wardley, but should be a good fight. Yeah, good on. There's Toby. Yeah, again, sorry. Explicit. Looks like Kenshiro Terashi will defend his titles in July. Boxing in July is looking like an early Christmas present. Certainly is there, Explicit. There's some ripper fights on, isn't there? Especially that one day with the Usyk and Dubois into Tim/Manny in Vegas. Jesse Bam Rodriguez is that day as well. Or was there another? There's something else around that time as well. Oh, the weekend before is the Serrano and Katie Taylor fight in New York, the all-women's card at Madison Square Garden, which is pretty close to sold out, by the way, guys. Madison Square Garden, the big stadium, the big room, is apparently almost sold out for an all-women's boxing event. So that's how far that's coming in. The July 12th is the Shiraz and Belunga and Stevenson Zapata card. And I think July 26th is Xander Zayas and who's he fighting again? Jose Perez or Garcia, whatever his name is. So that'll be a ripper weekend of fights as well, Explicit. So yes, July is certainly Christmas in July, isn't it? Polly the Farmer. Did you see that Akmedalia fight on the weekend? I didn't see it, Polly. I saw some highlights of it, but I didn't realise he was actually fighting. I missed it, mate. So I might go back and watch it, but I thought it was very lackluster. Okay, well, maybe I won't watch it. MJ seemed to lose the first 6 rounds of sparring and ended it very quickly when he chose to. Yeah, well, as I said, I only saw the highlights of it, but I haven't had a chance to watch the whole fight yet. And now you've said that, maybe I won't. Eminem, Mexicans are Caleb Plant's voodoo. All his losses are to Mexicans. Yeah, that's right. And at super middleweight, you don't normally get a lot of Mexicans at that weight, do you? So there you go. You might be right there, mate. I'll race through these comments. Sorry, guys. Tim wins. Huni wins. Opatai wins. George's fight, I am nervous. That Hitchison jabs and runs. Well, to think that we could have Jai as a world champion, Tim as a world champion, George as a world champion, and Huni as an interim champion, and then maybe Paro or Wilson at the end of the year. Maybe the Maloney's in there as well. It's looking pretty good for Aussie boxing this year, Carl, and that's not counting the girls either. So some big things happening this year for the Aussies. MJ looked okay against Castillo, says Naz, but drops his his lead hand way too often for Inoue not to catch him. I can't see him troubling Inoue, Naz. Look, he's a solid fighter. All the Russian fighters are, but just Inoue is just something else. He's a freak. To be able to punch the way he does at that weight is just unbelievable, and I think MJ will meet the same fate as all the others out there, mate. I think at some stage Inoue catches him, and that will be it. Mutsi agrees. Inoue will pump MJ. Eminem, bantam stacked with Japanese fighters who hold all the belts. Well, we'll have a quick look at that there, because that bantam weight, well, just all around that weight division, isn't it? Sorry if I'm behind there too, guys. I will catch up, I promise. So at 118, you've got Ryosuke Nishida and Junto Nakatani. Of course, they're fighting soon to unify. You've got, is it Susumi? He's a champion in recess. Antonio Vargas is the current WBA champion. And you got Yoshiki Takai, who won last week as well. So he's a WBO champion. Where's Jason ranked there, by the way? Not ranked. It's interesting too, that Donaire fight is for the interim WBA title. I would have thought, mate, because Jason's been after a fight with him for ages. I'm surprised they couldn't get that fight done, especially considering that he's going to technically be fighting one of Jason's stablemates, isn't he? So Jason's 8 with the WBC. He's not ranked by the other 3 sanctioning bodies, which is really weird. I don't think, I know he's lost his last 2 fights, but geez, it's not like he was outclassing any of them. But Glenn, yeah, evening all. Tragic news about Mike McCallum, probably my favourite fighter of all time. Yeah, mate, I did sort of give him a tribute this morning on Walking Boxing. It's a shock. It really is, mate. 68 years of age, just far too young. Looks like he had some sort of medical episode or a heart attack or something, but a true great of the sport. Very unheralded fighter was Mike McCallum, very underrated. Doesn't get mentioned a lot as far as all-time greats goes, but geez, in my opinion, I'm sure you're the same, Glenn. He's 100% an all-time great is Mike McCallum. He was a great fighter. Not the most exciting fighter. He just sort of grinds you down. But some of the fighters he beat, and even the ones he lost to, like Roy Jones and James Toney, just, super competitive in those fights. He had the wins over Curry and Milton McCrory, Jeff Harding. So, yeah, a very, very good fighter, Glenn. And, yeah, it's just a shame. It just happens, or it seems to be happening far too often at the moment, doesn't it, with our all-time great fighters just falling off, aren't they? So, Naz, it's a good idea to have Pitbull early on the Pacquiao-Barrios card. Guarantees a big crowd. Yeah, well, he was on the Tim and Fundora card last year, Naz, and I've got to say, though, I think he was the co-main event with Ramiro, which in hindsight was a ripper card. I'm going to go back to that in a sec. But all the crowd was there for Cruz. And once his fight was over, the arena was pretty much half empty, which I'm sure Tim wouldn't have been too happy about. But although they made enough noise, the crowd, to make up for them. But, yeah, the Mexicans, they love their fighters. And that was a ripper atmosphere that night with Ramiro. I'm just going to go back. When you look at that card back then, I'll do this quickly. So you had Tim and Sebastian Fundora. You had Rolly Ramiro and Isaac Cruz. You had Erzlandi Lara and Michael Zarafa. Brian Mendoza, Sergey Bolachuk. So really good fights there. And then we had the World Flyweight title. So we had Julio Cesar Martinez and Angelino Cordova. Now, it's been changed to a no contest. Why was that? Cordova twice. Result changed to a no contest. I don't know why that was changed to a no contest. If you know, let me know in the chat there, guys. But that was a really good card. And we had, I remember seeing Moten on, there is Kermel Moten on the card as well. So in hindsight, that was a ripper. I know back when the fight was, when Fundora was, and Tim was elevated to main event when Thurman pulled out, there's a lot of skeptics about the card, but as I said, in hindsight, a very, very good card. Whispers are Jamal Charlo, Virgil Ortiz in August. Yeah, I don't know, Eminem. I'm not sure Charlo can get back, mate, but we'll see. Flash, how epic will it be if both Manny and Tim win their new belts and the fights live up to the hype? Confidence build up for Tim. Yeah, it would be great. He's spoken obviously about his sparring with Manny, and when he saw Manny fight Cotto in Vegas, and he yelled out to him, and Manny gave him a wave back, and then they sparred together and are now fighting on the same card. It's great. Garden Snake mentality. Do you think if Pacquiao beats Barrios, which is a big ask, and Tank beats Roach in the rematch, the PBC will try to make Tank versus Pac-Man at 147? That type of mood would be Tank-like. Look, I'm sure Manny would be up for it, Garden Snake. I'm just not sure whether Javante Tank Davis would be up for it. He's just so unpredictable. Would be a good fight, though, wouldn't it? Maybe they could fight at a catch weight of maybe 142, 143, something like that. I'm sure Pacquiao could make it, although he's 46 years old now, isn't he? So, where are we? Am I to the end of the comments here? Have I skipped a few? Or is there not any comments coming through? All right, okay. All right. American heavyweight Joshua Edwards, promoted by Golden Boy, is looking like someone to look out for. Too early to tell, but looking promising. I haven't actually seen much of him explicit. When did he fight? Let me have a look. Joshua. I'm just trying to think if I've seen him fight. What is he, 2-0? So maybe not. So did he fight at the weekend? I think that name rings a bell. No. So he fought on the weekend and beat, what's his name? Joshua Edwards. So he beat Alexander Rhodes. Now that was at the Virgin Hotel. So that was on Friday night. Okay. A Golden Boy show. Okay. I didn't see that. Okay. I didn't know that fight was on. There you go. I'll keep a lookout for him there, Explicit. I'm glad that people like you out there keep an eye on these young up-and-comers. All right. Where is it? Benji Birchall now 4-0, 4 KOs. Now, do I have to go to BoxRec and have a look? Eminem? I'm going to. Don't get me wrong. I'm not expecting world-class fighters here because the kid's just turned, was it 15 or 16? They haven't updated his record yet by the looks of things. All the fighters who fought have been on debut, so I'm assuming they're kickboxers or Muay Thai, whatever it might be. But I didn't know that Eminem, they haven't updated BoxRec yet, but that would make it 4 fights in 6 months. So hope he's going all right over there. Benji. All right, Naz, I saw an interesting debate on another channel of top fighters who are must-watch, not necessarily pay-per-view. Bam, Usyk, Virgil, Tank, Opetaya, and Inoue for mine. The must-watch, I'm thinking, I don't know about Usyk, Naz. All right, well, let's have a quick look. Must-watch. All right, we'll go through each division, eh? We've got a little bit of time there because there's not a lot of comments to go through. At heavyweight, well, it's got to be Otama, doesn't it? Got to put him in there. Maybe Wardley, you'd maybe make a case for. Yeah, that's about it at heavyweight. Jai Pattaya, definitely at cruiserweight. Light heavyweight, well, not necessarily pound for pound. Must watch. Well, apart from the main guys, Bivol, Benavides and Beterbiev, not really there. At super middleweight, Mbili. We like watching Mbili. Definitely entertaining. Middleweight, I would say, Janabek you'd have to put in there, wouldn't you? Probably Janabek. At 154, well, it's got to be Murtazalyov, doesn't it? Surely. Welterweight, Conor Ben, I reckon. He's must watch. Very limited, but definitely must watch for sure. Boots is classy, but not overly exciting. There he is. Manny at number 5 in the WBC at 140. Pitbull's got to be it. At 135, it's got to be Zapata. At 130, Navarrete. Very, very limited, but geez, he comes to fight, doesn't he? Featherweight, it's got to be Nick Ball, I suppose. Well, no, he went away, and as well as being definitely pound for pound. Just look at those ratings too. Sam Goodman is now number 1 again with the IBF and WBO. Where is he with the others? Not ranked with the WBA and not ranked with the WBC. That is strange. So anyway, at 118, it's definitely Nakatani. And at 115, it's Bam Rodriguez. So there you go. That's my. I hope you I wasn't sort of looking at the microphone there. Sorry, guys. Hope you could hear me. But yeah, that's what I reckon too. Naz, not a bad episode to watch though, I reckon. Or a debate. Maybe I'll do that on Walking Boxing. Anyway. All right, Garden Snake. Turkey needs to stop putting so-called tune-ups before the main fights. Ryan versus Devon, Caleb versus Jamal, Wilder versus AJ, just to name a few. Why doesn't Turkey make them instead of these tune-ups first? I'm with you there, mate. I agree. Sorry, guys. I'm just reading a text from Tazzy to see what happened there. Oh, his phone died, he just said. He's coming back on, so we'll get through it. We might ask him his opinion of some of the other stuff we've been talking about too, guys, because otherwise there's too many comments in there anyway, so we'll get him back on, just charging his phone. Yeah, I'm with you there, Garden Snake, and it does happen. You remember even back to when Roy Jones Jr. came out to Australia and fought Danny Green and got knocked out in 1 round, and he had the fight with Hopkins already lined up, and they fought anyway. But I'm with you here. It just takes the luster off the event, doesn't it? Why not just match them up against each other? It just blows up these paydays, doesn't it? Didn't Julio Cesar Martinez pop hot on a VADA test? That might have been it, Toby. It doesn't actually say on BoxRec what the reason was, but that does make sense, and it does ring a bell. What do we got there? A super chat. We love the super chats. From Andy. How are you there, mate? $10. Thank you very much, mate. Congratulations to all the winners over the weekend. Can't hang, but just popped in to say subscribe, share, and smash that like button, please, folks. Thanks very much, Andy. Very much appreciated there, mate. All right. Where are we? Eminem, Tank would never go higher than 140. I tend to agree there, Eminem. Shadow Boxer, can anyone 35 and over just enter the Masters without any prior fights? I think you can, Shadow Boxer, which I can't believe. Because technically, you can have anyone enter the Masters. I did actually see it a few years back. I saw Attila Fogus who beat Lester Ellis at the Masters, sort of just having his way with all these old blokes who decide to jump in there and have a go. So apparently you can. Is it 35? I would have thought it should be like maybe over even like 45, shouldn't it? Surely. Because at 35, I reckon you could still throw a few there, couldn't you? So, all right, no, saw a video of Usyk meeting some soccer player where Turkey was holding Usyk's hand. I've seen him do it in the past. Strange. He did it with Terence Crawford too, didn't he? From memory. I think it's a show of affection over in Saudi Arabia, Naz. I don't know. I know it's hard for us in the West to get our heads around it. But yeah, I'm with you. I think it's part of their culture where they hold hands and all that sort of stuff. I don't know. Benavides for me. Yep. That's for the most watchable, I'm assuming. I noticed Khalid Baker was on the same card in Thailand and Benji. Okay. Yeah. Now, he's not banned as well, though, is he, Eminem? I'm pretty sure because he had some issues too, didn't he? Don't forget Oscar Collazo for a must-watch. Yeah, 100% Mutty. Yeah, I just had a quick glance over there, but might make for a good walking boxing episode or something, wouldn't it? I go over maybe some of these types of fighters who aren't maybe mainstream. Drew, I heard you talk about the legendary Len Wickwar this morning. Do you think all these years later he should have a spot in the Boxing Hall of Fame, or should it just be reserved for the elite most fights ever? Well, look. Is there a category or something? I know he's not a legend of the sport, Drew, but if you didn't see Walking Boxing this morning, Len Wickwar had 470 fights, 340 wins. What was it, 87 losses and 43 draws or something like that? I mean, I don't know all the categories they have, Drew, but surely there should be maybe fighters that have just left a mark on boxing. And that could even include the likes of someone like an Arturo Gatti. Now, I love Arturo Gatti, but I don't think he should be in the Hall of Fame. I just don't. I don't think his accomplishments really measure up to, I think, what it should be to get in there. But, geez, what an impression he made on the sport, Arturo Gatti. And you could probably even have a spot for fights that, the legendary fights to get mentioned as Hall of Fame fights. And obviously his trilogy with Mickey Ward would be in there. But, I spoke about this with D-Style the other day. And even with the women, every year they got 2 women. Well, they've almost run out of women to induct. So they need to just pull it back a bit, have 1 per year, maybe 1 every 2 years. And maybe not have any if that's not the case. I just don't think we should be inducting, whether it be men or women, just for the sake of it. I've just got a feeling the well might be running a bit dry at the moment. But Len Wickwar, maybe there should be a special category for fighters that have just left or achieved monumental things like this. I don't know the categories, but maybe that's how they can maybe keep it interesting and keep inducting different people for different things. I mean, Sylvester Stallone's inducted there, Drew, and he's a fictional boxer. So, and I think he was inducted for just having an effect or an everlasting effect on the sport, and probably inspiring a lot of fighters to be boxers. All right, Benavides versus Zerto has been discussed to fight at cruiserweight. Do you like that fight as an Opataya fan? Yeah, no, I do, Garden Snake. I would much prefer Jai Opataya be in there. But Benavides did say he's probably looking to defend 2, maybe 3 more times before he fights Zerto. But in the meantime, maybe he could defend a couple of times, let Opataya and Zerto fight, and then he could fight the winner. I think Jai is he's extremely impatient now, so I shudder to think what he's going to be like You've got to wait another 12 months to fight Zerdo. But, yeah, it would be a good fight. As long as the winner fights Opatai, I don't care, mate. What's that, Flash? I just took a look on Google, and apparently it's a normal custom for men to hold hands among Arabian men without it meaning anything more than friendship and camaraderie. Okay, there you go. All right, well, I think let's just leave it there for a second. I'll come back because I think Grant Tazzy Brown is back. You okay there, mate? You're all good? We thought I insulted you and you'd hung up.
The phone went flat on me, mate, and didn't have a charger, so I just drove home from the gym, and I'm here and happy to talk about the whole Bud thing. And pretty much, yeah, look, as I said, he had a great time. In a perfect world, it would have been good for him to have like a full day to just sightsee, but as I said, man, look, there was events planned and people pay money to see him. And but look, he did enjoy it. He's only got good memories. I've already FaceTimed him probably 3 times since he's left, and he's good. He's just looking forward now to getting in that training camp, getting into that Mamba mentality, which he has. And if you haven't checked my podcast, guys, I had a really good podcast with him.
Had a couple of comments about that. Yep.
The most views I've had in little time, a few days, over 10,000. And it's really good. It's because we've got that sort of friendship where I was really relaxed with him, and we just spoke about his journey, his upbringing in Omaha, Nebraska, his career, amateur, professional, and I really learned a lot off him while the time he was here. Like it's like being like with a Michael Jordan of NBA, or a Sugar Ray Leonard, or Roy Jones Jr., Floyd Mayweather, and they're his 2 favourites, Roy Jones and Floyd. Like he does give a lot of credit to the old school guys that paved the way for him. But I'll tell you now, in his mind, no one can beat him on this earth. And I believe that's going to fare well against Canelo. We know it's a tough fight. Canelo is a legend. I love Canelo.
Yeah.
We know he's got the size advantage. But along comes someone special. I think Terence is a special fighter. I think that given the blueprint of Mayweather and Lara, Canelo's a lot older since then. He's got to prepare for 2 styles, the Southpaw Orthodox.
Yeah, I've just put the link in the chat there too. If anyone wants to have a look.
So, did you get much? Did anyone go on the show? Anyone sort of on your show attend any of the events, Lynden?
I'm not sure. That before you came on, I'm glad someone actually mentioned it because I forgot you were coming on, to be honest. Someone said, how did the event go? But let us know if you're out there, guys, if you went. I'm just looking at your interview at the moment. Again, I've just put the link in there, but it's had 11,000 views already. I'm assuming it'll probably be about 50 by the time everyone gets a look at it. But so what does the training camp entail for Bud now? Is it a case, I think you said before anyway, he's more thinking Canelo should be worried about him, not the other way around. So it's just a matter of him doing what he's always done, or has he got a special thing worked out for this camp?
Pretty much what he's always done, man. Like he'll prepare, he'll get the right sparring partners for Canelo's style, and he'll just do his thing. I think that's the best way to do it. Don't change anything. I mean, what's been worked? What's worked 41 times before has worked for him. I mean, he's 41-0, so I think that he's just got to keep doing what he's doing. And, and I think that, I think that his ring generalship, his IQ, and his surprising strength. I tell you now, Canelo's going to get a shock how strong he is. He's super strong. It was funny, though, when he was here, because every time he met one of the Australian fighters, he'd say, "You want to spar?" And I go, because they go, "Oh, yeah, I've got my gear in the car." He'd done it to everyone. I thought he was serious the first time, and then after that, I knew, here we go again. But he's got a good sense of humour, man. He really fitted in well. And for everyone watching your show, Lynden, who in the top 10 of the world now, pound for pound, who are the top 5 will come out on their own?
Yeah, it's a good call, yeah, with no entourage.
Usyk wouldn't, Bivol wouldn't, Beterbiev wouldn't, Canelo wouldn't, Fury
I wouldn't.
Kurt Stevens and Javante Davis wouldn't. And Floyd Mayweather, retired or not, would have about 30 people with him.
Yeah. It says a lot about the guy, doesn't it?
Yeah, look, he's a really special guy. he was really, really, great to my, my fiance, my stepdaughters. Everyone I introduced him to. There's a few flew over from Tazzy. Adam Ramsey, Adrian Lovell, Sab Wells, Braden Blackie, they flew over and I made sure they got a bit of special extra time because they made the trip from Tazzy. Big J was there. Shout out to Big J. He was
Good
there.
stuff. Yeah, good. He's on here before,
He met my fiance on the door and, yeah, man, look, Danny Green, Mundine, Sam Solomon, all there, Pierre Karam, like all in the one room, like that's a night of itself. And then up to Sydney to have Sakio, Skinny, Hussey, Billy Dibb, Yusuf Dibb. It was really cool, man. And then and the Maloney boys, Andrew and Jason was at Fidel's event. Andrew played against him in ping pong. They were 1-1.
Yep.
So their battle continues. So he played a lot of table tennis while he was here.
They couldn't make time for a third game just to work it out, or
Nah, so there was a bit of a deadline, but him and Jai Bataya spoke. Jai actually spoke the best I've seen him actually at the event at the casino, and he's got his big fight coming up. Guys, I really hope you all tune in to support Tasman fighters and watch Jai Bataya this week defend his world title. If you all want to see big fights in Australia, you've got to support your Australian fighters. So if you're not there in person, please get it on pay-per-view and support a guy that probably doesn't get his flowers yet because he's not really mainstream known, but Jai Patel is a serious fighter. Also got a comment as well from the Australian media. Tim Tszyu is my brother and I love him, but every question was about will you fight Tim? And, mate, Tim's fighting Fundora. Crawford's fighting Canelo.
yeah.
Crawford probably won't going to come down in weight again, or if he does, it'll probably be at a middleweight, not 154. So that fight is not going to happen every time. They just kept talking, and they were trying to get him to say something negative about Tim. I stopped the guy once. I said, look, no more questions about Tim because Terence just doesn't want to talk disrespect about Tim, and neither would I.
Yep.
So they were just trying to get a headline. I was getting a bit over it all the time. Mate, they're on different journeys now. They could have clashed if Tim would have beat Fundora. That would have happened. And there was negotiations, apparently. But it didn't happen now. So Tim's got Fundora. I'm confident he'll beat Fundora, and I really hope he does because I love Tim. But, they keep mentioning all the time, fucking, it was just draining.
Well, the Australian media, I mean, I make no secret of my opinion of the Australian boxing media. I reckon they're all got their heads up their asses. Was there actually an intelligent question asked by the boxing media apart from Tim Tszyu that he could answer or not?
Yeah, probably a few. I mean, Peter Badell was actually pretty good.
Was he?
Live. It wasn't too bad, Pete.
Yeah.
He's actually quite a nice guy when you get to know him. But a few of the other ones from Fox and that, they're all good guys. They gave us some good airtime, but fuck, man, can you ask more about him fighting Canelo than he's bringing up? I know they've got to get a headline. I think they think that it's got to be an Australian involved to get a headline, but I don't know, man. I think, look, guys, everyone watching right now on Lynden Hosking show, who's one of the goats of Australian boxing, Bud Crawford is a once-in-a-lifetime fighter. If he beats Canelo, and in my opinion, when he beats Canelo, he goes into the GOAT conversation. He's in there. That means he's a three-time undisputed champion, the first person to do it, first man, in 5 weight divisions. Now, to me, he passes Floyd and he passes Manny. He's up there with Ray Leonard, Ray Robertson, and Ali, and Henry Armstrong. I don't think you can argue with it. Winning 3 divisions and getting names like Spence, Canelo. He chased Manny for years. Manny wouldn't fight him. I didn't know how many negotiations there were. Manny and his team would not get in the ring with Crawford. He was bad news for Manny's team. So he wanted that marquee fight, and Manny would have been it, but he lost that. He didn't get a chance to fight Manny. His marquee fight, I guess, was Spence, but now it's really Canelo. Because everyone needs a marquee fight. I mean, Costa Tszyu had Judah. Ray Leonard, Hagler, Hearns, and Durrell had each other. Shout out to the past and Mike McCallum, one of the great fighters, really a legend, and just out of the fabulous 4 he was. Yep. Mike McCallum was a great fighter. Julian Jackson, he knocked out Donald Curry. But yeah, everyone needs a marquee fight. Floyd had many of Floyd. So I think this is it for him. Yeah.
Now, there's been a lot of things said about where it's going to be, and I know the dates have been. I won't keep you too long there, mate. I know that the dates have been changed, but there's still no promoter and there's no venue yet. Is there anything happening with that?
It's the 13th of September. I want to say no promoter. I mean, it's obviously Turkey will do it under Riyadh. I don't know what's going on with Dana White, but I guess that's not happening. And I doubt he'll ever get into boxing now. I think that might, I don't know what's happening on the scenes. I don't really know. But if this would have been his launching pad, I mean, what a launching pad. What other fight bigger than Crawford Canelo would you launch on? So I think he missed that boat. So Terence believes it's going to be in Vegas. So I know they're saying it could be 7 cities, but I'm pretty sure it's Vegas. It's got to be Vegas. So I just think it's Vegas with Turkey and Riyadh season, in my opinion.
Yeah, you'd think so.
I reckon it'll be similar when he fought Majumov in LA. That was Riyadh season. But this one will be in Vegas. So I'm not sure the undercard in that yet. But I'm sure it'll be a good one. I'm not sure if it's T-Mobile or Allegiant Stadium or whatever it's called.
Allegiant Stadium, I think the football's on that night, so it won't be there. But now, I've been, the last sort of couple of weeks, I've been talking about our first boxing tour is actually going to be Canelo and Crawford in Vegas. Now, you're actually going to be there as well. So I know you're going to be part of Team Crawford, but to everyone out there, they might actually get an opportunity to have a coffee with you as well over there if we go over there.
Put that in with a fee. Chuck
I
it
will.
in, extra $10.
I will.
So what was the fee, Lynden?
Oh, we haven't come up with it yet. It just depends on what airfares and accommodations going to be.
Whatever it is, it's an extra $10 to have a coffee with Tazzy.
All right, we'll make it happen, mate. That'll be good. You'll be busy anyway over there. You'll be in Team Crawford, and you'll be probably doing a bit of reporting over there as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna when I get hold of that Ellie setback, I'm gonna give him a bit of a left right good night. But
a 1-2 Timmy Zoo.
That's right. But I want to say, guys, there's no Vay's experience like a Lynden Hosking's Vay's experience. He knows he's been to like 30, 40 big fights. He knows everyone. He knows where to go. He knows the whole routine. He knows, where to go and hang out and fill in time. He showed me, what did you show me? What's the name of the first original Vegas?
Oh, Fremont Street.
Fremont Street. Yeah, I wouldn't have seen that if it wasn't for you because I didn't know about it. And
it was experience, wasn't it?
Guys, you're in safe hands on Lynden Hoskins. And I might be able to sneak into a couple of gyms, but that's all extra charge. Yeah,
well, hey, I'm sure if everyone's going for the experience, this is part of the experience, it might cost a bit extra to go have some behind the scenes tours because everything you said is correct, except I don't know everyone over there because I'm not like you and I don't, want to meet everyone over there. If you want to meet someone, we need this guy to come with us because he'll get us in to meet everyone. So maybe we can all chip in a little bit extra and you can come.
We rocked up the top rank. You wasn't too sure. What Devin Haney trained?
That's right. Yeah, and you walked in, didn't you? Yeah.
And we went down to watch Jorge Linares spar the Vargas boys.
Well, I didn't know what was going on there because you said, "Come on," because who'd you meet? I can't remember. You said, "I've met someone. We're going to the gym." And Jorge Linares is sparring the Vargas boys, and we got there, and there was no one there, and then those two guys from that podcast came out and let us in, and we're standing there by ourselves and thinking, geez, this is a waste of a trip. And then all of a sudden, Fernando Vargas and his sons roll up, Linares rolls up, and everyone was there. It was a packed gym. It was an awesome day of sparring, wasn't it?
Yeah, and we got to meet Fernando Vargas, and you told him how you were the guy that you were meant to fight him. If you would have won your fight, the Olympics, you would have fought him the next night.
He didn't seem to care too much. Actually, no. What he did say, what I said to him is that when we did the draw at the Olympics, I think he came out or I came out, and then I was straight after each other. But one was at the bottom of the draw, of the first draw, and one was at the top of the next draw. So we didn't fight each other, but we were very close. And all he said to me was, "Yeah, well, ended up being pretty lucky, weren't you?" or something. He said, and I said, "Yeah, well, maybe I was." So he was probably right.
He's very good friends with Robbie Bomber Peden.
And a good guy too, really good guy. And the Vargas boys.
Yeah. They were good boys. We went to the Mayweather gym as well. And Hey, let's tell the people while I'm here quickly about Kenny Porter.
Oh, no, you can. Well, all right, I'll quickly tell the
You tell
story.
the story.
Well, Tazzy comes back. He says, because he said, Kenny Porter was in the gym next door to the sparring, wasn't he? This is Sean Porter's dad, by the way, guys. And Tazzy said, he's next door. Come on, we'll say good day. So we went next door and we had a quick chat. He was in there training by himself and he invited us back to his house. He said he was, I can't even remember what he said, but you said, come on, he wants us to go back and
it was about a podcast.
Do a podcast or something at his house. Now he picked us up in a Chevy, a Dodge Charger or one of those cars worth about 200 grand. Picks us up and takes us to his house and
Gated community.
Yep, that's right.
Conor McGregor around the corner, Mayweather around the other corner.
Yep, Sean Porter up the road as well. So we go in there and we're thinking we're doing a podcast. Well, he rolls out his, what was she, a mail order or something? I don't know. She was about 20 years old, I reckon she was. But she had a YouTube show was it about making cocktails or something? And she interviewed us and got us to taste these drinks on a YouTube show. And that was our big adventure to Kenny Porter's house. And I must admit, mate, don't know about you, but I just wanted to get the hell out of there because it was freaking me out a bit.
He had another mad car in the driveway too.
He did, yeah, 2 Dodge Chargers, yeah. But it was good to talk to anyway. But anyway,
I don't know how we ended up, mate. But as you know, when you're with Tazzy, you never know where you're going to end up and who you're going to bump into. True.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, well, that's the thing. I'll take you along for the experience, but Tazzy can give you a different type of experience where you're definitely not going to get it with me anyway. But he'll take you to places you never thought you'd go to and meet people you never thought you'd meet.
Yeah, no, it's always good, Lynden. I look forward to seeing you over there. And as I said, I'm blessed to, Bud asked me to be part of the team. So that's just, it's been a surreal few years lately. With all the opportunities in Riyadh and Saudi and the WC convention in Hamburg. And I like, anyone that knows that I do everything in the honour of my beautiful mother that lost her life last August. So, and I spoke a lot about that with Bud. Everything I do now is to honour her memory and my dad because I had 2 beautiful parents who both, I lost them to cancer 6 years apart. So whatever I do now, guys, in boxing, it's from the heart. I just want to do good things because I feel like I'm being watched all the time and that's my motivation. And I hope I don't sound corny, but it's true. I just want to take over the world in boxing.
That's good stuff, mate. Well,
Terence Brown, Frank Warren, Turkey. I want all them to have to call me if they want something, and that's going to happen.
Good stuff, mate. No, well, I've got no doubt your credit in the Aussie boxing world's got even bigger, mate. So no, it's an awesome achievement.
The reason I was educated before because I did hear whispers. People think I wasn't going to pull it off, and that's okay. Look, everyone gets their knockers, and as I said, and I didn't get massive support from a lot of people, but the ones that did, like Billy Hussein, my brother, and Fidel, they know who they are. They did help out, but I mean, Russell from Taylor May Memorabilia. But I mean, it is what it is. I've done it. I successfully brought the current pound for pound king, possibly soon to be GOAT, 3-1 speed champ Terence Crawford to Australia. So I don't want pats on the back or anything, but I just want people to appreciate what I achieved. I'm a humble kid from Tasmania. That's all. And but I've always been big. I've always dreamed big. And I tell all the kids, dream it, believe it, achieve it. And anything's possible, guys.
No, 100%, mate. And, things just don't happen. You got to make them happen. And you did it, mate. And it's a credit to you. So, mate, we really appreciate you coming on tonight and can't wait to see what's next. And more important, we can't wait to see you in Vegas in September, as a special appearance from Tazzy Brown.
Make sure he's put that in the cost, so $10 per person, because you got US too, so it's a bit extra. So just for a coffee, and that'd be perfect, mate. Yeah,
we'll shout you dinner. All right, we'll take you out for dinner.
Keep supporting him, guys. Keep supporting Deep Dive. That's where I started with Lynden. He's a beautiful guy. He's an ex-Olympian. He knows the game, and he's one of the good guys in boxing. He's too good to promote because he's too nice. That's a problem. But keep supporting his channel, guys, and leave some comments about your opinions on me bringing Crawford down, and feel free to ask him any questions. He knows a bit. And thanks for supporting boxing.
No worries, mate. And don't forget to get on ringside seat with Tazzy, the podcast. So thanks, mate. And we'll talk soon.
Thanks, Lynden. Bye, mate.
Hey, mate. Grant Tazzy Brown. So there you go. That's, I suppose, the straight from the horse's mouth, isn't it? About what happened and what might be happening coming up. So always good to have him on, and full credit to him as well. All jokes aside, and our stories and everything else. I mean, he's right. I mean, he dreamt big and actually made it happen and brought the top 2-3 pound for pound fighter in the sport to Australia and gave everyone just a great experience here. They got a chance to meet him. So congratulations again. All right, where are we? Let's get back to some comments. We've got about 30 minutes to go. What do you got there, Eminem? If MJ gets injured between now and September, could we see Goodman take that date with Inouye? Wow, good question, Eminem. That'd be poetic justice, wouldn't it? That after everything that Sam Goodman's gone through, and that's what sometimes happens. You just got to keep winning, and you just got to be ready to go at any stage, and that could 100% happen, Eminem. His name hasn't been mentioned a lot, though, from Inouye's camp. That's probably the only thing that concerns me. But neither had maybe the guys that replaced Sam Goodman either. So you just never know. But good point, Eminem. I like it. What do you got? Shadowbox. In reference to my master's question, might give it a go. Why not? Only live once. Just make sure you do some training with a good trainer, Shadowboxer. All right. Make sure you got a good trainer who shows you properly and... the Masters thing, I love the concept of it. I just don't like the fact that you can have pretty much anyone that's been a former champion or something, Australian champion or whatever, being able to fight people having, the first or second fights. But, mate, if you've never done it before, do it. Just do it properly. Never too old to start. Glenn, back on Mike McCullum. Where do you rank him at 154 all time? I think he's probably top 3. Good question, Glenn. Jeez. 154. Well, who have we got at 154? You'd have to put Hearns and Canelo in there, but I mean, they're just sort of passing through, I suppose. Mike McCullum, I suppose you could say he's passed through. He ended up at, 175, didn't he? But he started at 154 and had the majority of his, going to say the majority of his big fights there, but still. Just trying to think 154. Well, would you have Hearns and Canelo in the top 2 and then Mike McCullum to make up the 3, Glenn, or have you got someone else in mind? On the top of my head, I can't think of any 154-pounders, but that will probably be my 3 anyway. Eminem, Callum Peters now has over 100 amateur wins. He's a good kid. He's Eminem. Drew, I had a constructive argument with someone who would win in fights with prime versions of Bo versus Lewis and Bo versus Tyson. I had Lewis and Tyson in both fights. Your thoughts? Bo wasted his career. I'm going to agree with you. I think Lewis would have beaten Bo quite handily, I think, and I think he proved that when they fought in the Olympic final in Seoul in 88. Bo and Tyson would have been interesting because Bo had a good chin. I reckon he would have stood up to Tyson okay. It depends on when they fought. If it had been sort of mid-90s, I suppose, I would have easily backed, although I was just going to say easily backed Tyson, but after that, Bo sort of went downhill as well, didn't he? No, I think Tyson and Lewis would beat Bo, but Bo, look, he could have been capable of a lot more, but you're right. I won't say he wasted his career because he was former heavyweight champion, but maybe could have done a bit better. I agree. Bo, Ness, Tyson. So Glenn thinks Bo beats him. Is that what it's supposed to say? Beats or Ness? Is that the word? Ness? Canelo will smoke him 100%, says Batman. That's about Terence Crawford. That special, especially his best win is Spence. Just playing, he's a great fighter. But so is Canelo, and he's faced so much better opposition. One thing I probably didn't agree with Tazzy then about is I think even if he beats Canelo, I still don't think he's in the GOAT conversation. The greatest fighters have had numerous fights of that quality. And with Terence, I know he's beaten Porter and those types of guys, but I mean, Spence was a good fighter, but I think shot at the time. It had to happen a few years. I still think Crawford would have beaten him even before that, but the version of Spence he fought was very, very jaded. And Canelo at 168. I don't know. I would have loved to have seen him fight maybe at 154 or even 160, worst case. But 168, who knows? But even if he beats Canelo, I still don't put him above even Floyd Mayweather. His resume, I think Mayweather is far superior than Terence Crawford. I even think Canelo's is far superior. I would probably put Hearns and obviously Sugar Ray Leonard and Robinson, of course, above him. So I don't think he's, just for my opinion, I'm sure if Tazzy's watching, he's probably beating his phone at the moment. But I think it would be a monumental win. I think if he beats Canelo, I think he would probably go number one pound for pound, in my opinion. But as far as all-time pound for pounds, I've probably got to respectfully disagree with that. He just hasn't had enough of those wins to justify it. Would be a great victory to beat Canelo, but is it any better than Mayweather beating a Pacquiao or a De La Hoya? I don't think so. Bud wins, Canelo sucks, so Glenn's not going to agree with me on Canelo. Batman, for me, Virgil beat Madrimov much easier than Crawford, who struggled big time. I just don't think he was up for the fight, though, Batman. In defense of Crawford there, he said himself he expected to be fighting Tszyu, and that fight obviously fell over for obvious reasons. They switched to Madrimov. I just think he just struggled to get up against Madrimov. I think a really prime, ready to go Crawford would make easy work of Madrimov. I just think the moving up, and Madrimov was awkward. I just think Crawford struggled emotionally or mentally getting up for that fight more than Madrimov himself. So Batman also says, bet Tim would have jumped in with Crawford. Yeah. Batman, Canelo sucks that bad. He's obviously be unbeaten as well if you face Crawford's opponents. What's Crawford's record against Canelo? You think Crawford would eat left hooks from Callum Smith? Okay, I'll let you guys sort that out. Crawford beating Kovalev in your mind in 2019. Meanwhile, he was wobbled by Brook with a jab. Okay, yeah. Different weights, though. I don't think you can have Crawford in the mix of fighting Kovalev, but I get your point there, Batman. Glenn says Callum Smith wouldn't land on Bud. I tend to agree, Glenn. Mean Machine did, Amir Khan did, Gamboa did. Yeah, I think, look, you could probably go around in circles with all the arguments about different points and that you could sort of make. I don't know. As I said, I'm just looking at resumes, and I think Terence Crawford is a great fight. I think Terence Crawford, don't get me wrong, is as talented as a Mayweather and a Sugar Ray Leonard and a Tommy Hearns. I think he's just as talented as all those guys. The problem is he just didn't have those legacy fights. And even, as I said, even if he beats Canelo, it is a legacy fight, but those other guys had multiple legacy fights. And a lot of those fights are actually lost, but they win in rematches or whatever it might. Just, I don't know. I love Terence Crawford. I think he's supremely gifted and just as talented as some of those other guys. But again, he just hasn't had the resume that the others had. So, what's that, Batman? Easy money on Canelo. Remember this. Brooks levels above Smith in boxing ability speed. I'll let you guys debate that. Flash, I'll be at the Star City Casino for the Jai fight. I would have loved to have been up there, Flash, but I've just got a bit going on at the moment. And yeah, I haven't been able to get it. I won't be able to get up there, unfortunately. And Sequoia, it's not the sort of opponent that's going to drag me onto a plane, I don't think. And it's a long weekend as well, so I think the airfares are through the roof too. But all the best to Mick Francis up there. And Tazzy did hit it on the head before. He made a good point. Get behind the Tasman fighters of the world. I mean, we all sort of complain about No Limit and the shows they put on, and they do a great job as well. But Mick Francis is pretty much the unsung sort of promoter out there. He's number 2 in the country, doing great things and really trying hard to give us the best fight. So I'm with Tazzy there. If you can afford the $50, get it and watch this weekend's fight. Should be a good night of boxing. Naz, how does Floyd Schofield go against Tevin Farmer on the Paul Chavez circus? I would have preferred to see Abdullah Mason against either. I agree with you there, Naz. I think I think Schofield wins that fight. Farmer wasn't bad in his last fight. Was he with Zepeda? A little bit unlucky there even against Zepeda. I'm going to say Floyd Schofield rises to the occasion and beats Tevin Farmer, but it won't be easy. Drew, do you honestly think Zerdo will fight Opatai next? No, I don't, Drew. I'm starting to get frustrated at Opatai sitting on the cusp of huge fights with seemingly no takers or conveniently quiet ones. Just comes down to think sometimes, Drew, minimal risk or the least amount of risk for the most reward. And I don't blame Benavidez for looking at Zerdo above Jai, because I think Jai is the harder fight and the money would be less. So I don't blame Benavidez talking about Zerdo. It's all Mexican fight and it'll be big overseas where a lot of the money is. So I don't blame him. I think Jai's just going to have to be patient. He's still got plenty of time, but as long as the winner of Zerdo and Benavidez fights Opatai, I'm not fussed. And I think if Jai moves up to heavyweight, I think they'll move him along really quick. Pretty much like they did with Usyk. Just rush him along, get him a couple of fights, 2-3 heavyweight fights, and then try and get him in with the champion. Batman fights once a year. This is Crawford, been extremely calculated with his fights. Canelo gets discredited, but in the same time, Crawford had 8 fights. What's Canelo had 18 or 20, taken far more risks and faced better. I agree, Batman, with that one. Shadowboxer says, are you a Spence fan, Batman? All right, I'll try and get through a few of these. I think you're delusional as to how Brooke would do in that fight. Glenn, all good, agree to disagree once again. Good. As long as we all agree to disagree, then all good. Have to say. Oh, all right, Spencer's mediocre, says Batman. Fights once every 2 years, so no, I think he's finished, Batman. I can't see him coming back. Glenn says Brooke at one stage was arguably the best 147-pounder in the world. Smith's just not your classic UK plotter. Sorry, I don't think they're close at all. Naz says, yeah, good point to Tazzy support. Tasman putting on great cards, only $50. $20 cheaper than Goodman and Schliebs. Although the Goodman and Vaca fight was only $50, which is probably about where you'd expect it to be, $40 or $50. 10 times profits. What's happened to my eye? Well, I got home late from the pub one night, profits, and that's what happens. No, I've told the story, but I had a run-in with a shoplifter and head-butted the ground and got the black eye, mate. Glenn, 168 was pretty ordinary when Canelo unified, and as much as I despise him, Saunders was Mike above him. Or miles above him? I actually think the Saunders fight is peak Canelo and maybe his best wins. I tend to agree with that, Glenn. Saunders was a very, very good fighter, Billy Joe Saunders. I actually thought Billy Joe Saunders might even beat Canelo. And I thought he was doing very, very well until Canelo landed that big, was it an uppercut or whatever it was that broke his eye socket. Underrated win, I think, from Canelo. And he hasn't fought since either, Saunders. Yeah, apparently I forgot to take the bins out and his missus had enough. Yes. I'll keep going through there. All right, Glenn, no shame losing like he did to Triple G, and if Smith fought him, he would have ended up the same way regardless of his size. So you guys are discussing is it Brooke, Canelo, Crawford situation? All right, I gave him $1. Reminds me of an old mate that would talk me into getting into places and going out on the sauce. And if I were to say I can't afford these nights anymore, he would always say, well, make a profit. And the profit was always disputable, yes. Glenn says, Bud's not my boy. He's just better than Canelo. I think technique-wise, maybe you're right there, Glenn. I don't know. Look, it's all uncharted waters. We don't know. I know Tazzy said before that Terence is very confident that, he'll be strong and everything at 168, but we won't know until the first bell rings. So, all right, to Batman. Only 4 men to win titles from 154 to 175, Leonard, Hearns, Canelo, and McCullum. Yeah, he's in very esteemed company there, Batman, and very, very underrated fighter. Yeah, Bo was terrified of Lewis. Yeah, well, he threw the WBC belt in the bin, didn't he? So he didn't have to fight him. What's that, Shadowboxer? Train me 8 weeks, I'll come to Bendigo. Yeah, well, I don't live in Bendigo, Shadowboxer, but yeah, well, 8 weeks. Yeah, that'd probably be enough. Glenn says McCullum would have schooled Canelo at 154. Look, that is probably one argument I tend to agree, Glenn. And you talk about styles make fights. I agree. I think McCallum would have beaten Canelo at 154. Very, very good. What was it? What would you describe McCallum as? He wasn't a puncher. He would sort of wear you down, but he had good boxing skills, but not great boxing skills. I think he had great boxing IQ. He's just one of those fighters that did everything really well without doing anything particularly well, if that makes sense. Just a well-rounded, great fighter. And I think his style, his height, his reach, and more importantly, his IQ and all that sort of stuff. I agree, Glenn. He would have beaten Canelo. I tend to agree, although I think Batman doesn't agree. Based on what fight gave you that confidence? His best wins are nobodies to Canelo or on Canelo's resume. Yeah. Oh, you're talking about Bud. Okay, I'm not quite sure. Tell us what you think of McCallum versus Canelo, Batman. We're talking about Crawford here. So Batman says he's not beating no Canelo. Even an over-the-hill Canelo will beat him. Funny how Crawford didn't call for this fight in the last decade, wanting to see slippage. I just think it's just... I just think it was a case of Terence Crawford just cleaning out the 147-pound division. He'd done everything at 135 and 140 and then just looking for a new challenge. Sort of the way I see it anyway. I don't think you would have seen Crawford at 147 calling out Canelo at 168 or 175. But, I mean, it's all arguable, isn't it? Glenn says he was getting undisputed twice. He's daring to be great at the end of his career, making a fortune on the way. Yes, Austin Trout gave Canelo fits. And, yeah, Lara, Mayweather, Triple G. Yep. All right, we'll get through to another subject here. All right, I forgot Nakatani's fighting this weekend too. That's right, he is too. This weekend, wow. All right, Batman. All right, we're almost getting into these comments with the argument with Canelo and Crawford. In fact, it's funny enough, Austin Trout, an unbeaten champion, coming off the back of beating a legend. That was Cotto. He's had a better win than Crawford has at 38. Canelo was 22. Yeah, well, I'll let you guys keep arguing about that. Benavides doesn't want no part of Jai. Nobody does. No, I don't blame him, Batman. Cotto was a middleweight dwarf, says Glenn. All right. Explicit. Is Canelo really 5'8"? I feel like he's 5'6". Yeah, no, apparently he's 5'8", although I wouldn't be surprised if he's more like 5'7". Explicit. I've sort of tried to do the measurement. I'm 5'8", or 5'7.5", and I've done the comparison. I've actually stood next to Canelo as well. I reckon he's my height. So between 5'7" and 5'8", but he's not a big 168. The good thing is, what's Crawford? He'd be, what, about 5'9"? Would he? I think he's an inch or two taller than Canelo, so... And he did look like he was, like size-wise, was pretty well matched up against Canelo, didn't he? All right, Batman, I agree. I agree he ducked nobody, but he also beat nobody or put anywhere near Canelo. All right. Just going through these comments about Canelo Crawford. I'm going to work out how to do a poll on here, guys. I know you can do it. I've got to work out how to do it on this software. We'll do some maybe quick polls as we're going about different things like this. Who's right, Batman or Glenn? I'll work out how to do it. All right. Shadowboxer. I don't know why I thought you lived in Bendigo. I used to live in Bendigo, Shadowboxer. Well, I wasn't born there. I was born in Birchip, which is somewhere in country Victoria. I don't even know where it is, but that's where I was born. But I've lived in Bendigo since I've been about 4 years old. So, and I moved about 7.5 years ago. So, spent a long time in Bendigo, about 40 years actually in Bendigo before I moved to where I live now. Okay. All right, you guys are still going. I think we're almost at the end of it. All right, I'll get a couple of comments about Canelo and Crawford. Here we go. All right, Batman. Crawford, before the Spence fight, said Canelo was too big. He gained confidence beating that washed, broken, binge tree in Spence. I've got a pick with Canelo. He's not tall. Gave him the confidence. Yes. All right. Glenn says maybe Bud thinks Spence is better than Canelo. Okay. Explicit, you could make a Canelo versus Crawford discussion live stream, and this comment section will be filled with Batman and Glenn. Well, hey, maybe we've got to do it one night. I think I have discussed it in the past about having a topic. Although, actually, I haven't just thought about it. I actually did it a couple of times. If you look back on this channel, I started to do little different things. And one of them, I think the first one I did was Mayweather and Pacquiao, who had the better career. So this is probably something, give us your thoughts now. Who had the better career, Mayweather or Manny Pacquiao? Now, I thought that, I don't know, I can't remember who I actually picked. It's a bloody tough question. And before people say, well, Mayweather beat Pacquiao, so that makes his career better, I don't think it does. Now, do you go for Pacquiao, who won world titles in 8 divisions, or do you go for Mayweather, who had the 50-0 record? Do you go by the fact they fought each other, which wasn't the question, by the way. It was who had the better career. So, I don't know. I've got to go with Mayweather, don't I? I mean, he won world titles at one. Did he win one? He won at 130, didn't he? 130, 135. He went straight to 147, didn't he? 154 as well. Beat the likes of Pacquiao, De La Hoya. I mean, I'm not even going to start his resume because he's had that many great wins. But give me your thoughts before we go, guys. Who had the better career? Not who's better, Shadow Boxer. I want to hear who had the better career, whose resume is better, not who the better fighter was. That's a different argument. I think Mayweather sort of settled that question, didn't he? He answered that question. So I want to ask the question before we go. Who had the better career? Who has the better resume out of Mayweather and Pacquiao? We've got a couple of minutes to go. Well, we might actually end early the way we're going. I love, live debates. Yep. I love arguing with Batman. No worries, Rob. Anytime, mate. Mayweather is better. Mayweather for me says I gave him $1. And I think that's it. Well, guys, okay, well, we might as well leave it at that then. All right, Drew, hang on. I should know better than to use Canelo's last fight as an indicator against Crawford, but I just can't get past that god-awful performance versus School. Yeah, I'm with you there, Drew. I think we've got to look past that a little bit. Yeah, it was a shocker. But I've mentioned it here before, the fact he had to fight in the morning, 7 o'clock in the morning. I mean, I don't think even any of the best fighters of all time would have put on a great performance with that, not to mention foreign country, an opponent who didn't want to fight. So, yeah, look, the more I think about it, I don't begrudge him that performance. So, all right. I'll get through the last few comments there. Shutterboxer, Mayweather's resume by a hair. Glenn says, Pac-Man not even close. Glenn, he had a 50-0 record, mate. And I know you're going to say, now it might be my turn to debate you. But look at his record. I mean, no one could beat him. And I know the classic argument is, but he picked and chose when he fought him, and when they had to fought him at their prime, and blah 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 blah. I don't get that, mate. Canelo was only a kid. He had 37 or 38 fights. Mayweather was 36 years of age, and he schooled him. Not to mention schooled Pacquiao and De La Hoya and Cotto and Marquez. And I'm just running out of. I'd have to ring up his resume. He's just literally beaten everybody. So I'm not sure that's the case. But anyway, all right. Batman says, so hard to say, both was just unbelievable career-wise. Money May all day. Isn't it funny how Glenn says Pac-Man not even close and Drew says Money May all days? That's the argument that pops up. That's why it's tough to separate them, I think. I've seen Floyd live and about to watch Manny live. Did you see him peak live, though, Batman? I've had the fortunate, or been fortunate enough to seen Manny live. I've seen him fight. Well, I saw Hatton. That was probably when he was peak. Or was he peak before that? At maybe 135 or even 130 or even 126. I don't know. But that Hatton fight was just unbelievable. Who else did I see him fight? Mosley was disappointing, that fight. Mosley didn't turn up the fight. Bradley was obviously disappointing. He lost that fight. Marquez 4 was a great fight, except he got knocked out. Horn was I haven't been a great good luck charm for Pacquiao, because I've seen him fight Horn live as well, and he lost that too. So just two brilliant fighters, Batman. I think we can all agree on that, can't we? What's that, Colin? Charlie Zelnoff. Now, is he the guy that goes to all the gyms? Is that him? Is that who I'm thinking of? And beats people up? The performance versus Skull was terrible. I can't lie. Yeah. Let's not forget the early fights. Pac-Man lost. May for me. Yep. I think if you break it down, I had to pick one or the other. I'm picking Mayweather. Yep. Honestly, lucky to have witnessed both. Yeah, whatever, says Glenn. But look at who Pac-Man fought and how we disposed of them. Well, Mayweather, I think the only fighter, that gave him some troubles was De La Hoya. Cotto maybe won a few rounds, but no one really came close to beating Mayweather, Glenn. That's the only thing I'll say. And Corrales, I know that always pops up. I still think Mayweather won that fight. Pac-Man probably had the harder fights, but he made them hard. Mayweather fought a lot of the same opponents and just made it look easy. So that's just my opinion anyway. I also think that Pac-Man lost fights 2 and 3 versus Marquez. Every fighter has a kryptonite though, Drew. You would think that with Mayweather, Corrales arguably got the better of him, and Corrales is not at the level of Pac-Man or a lot of the other fighters that he fought either. So I think it just comes down to styles. But I think if you look at the names on the resume and how those fighters won those fights, it's close, but I've got to go for Mayweather. How many Hall of Famers on Floyd's resume? It's insane. A lot, Shadow Boxer. In the second half of his career, probably every second fighter that he fought was a Hall of Famer, if probably even more. Probably, 8 out of every 10 fighters that he fought were Hall of Famers. It's just crazy. Margarito, yeah, well, is that a big thing to not fight Margarito? He didn't fight him, I know, but so? Margarito was a good fighter, but I don't think he's the type of fighter that you would question someone's legacy because they didn't fight Antonio Margarito. Margarito, again, was a good fighter, but I don't know. I don't think that argument holds water, Glenn, that the fact that he fought Margarito in some way affects his legacy. Not at all. Medina, 2, he was super sharp but not peak Manny, will be 46 when I see him live. The other great fighters I've seen live, Inouye ×2, Canelo ×2. Yep. Castillo 1 was close. Did I say Corrales? Sorry if I said Corrales. It's Castillo, of course. Yeah, it was close, Shadow Boxer. I still had Floyd winning a very close decision, 7 rounds to 5, but close enough that it could have been a draw. In my opinion, I don't think Castillo did enough to win the fight, but it could have been a draw. But I still had Floyd winning 7 rounds to 5. Batman, looking forward to watching Manny and Tim in July. Finally, I get to see Tim fight plus Manny. Yep, well, I'll be there too, Batman. The sport is hit and not be hit, so Mayweather's better. Yep. Yeah, Drew, sorry. Yep, I mixed that up. Castillo, I think you mean, not Corrales. Yep. So he did fight Corrales, though, didn't he, Mayweather, from memory? So, and did that quite easily too from memory. But, yeah, just, look, one thing I don't want to do is just be disparaging Manny Pacquiao. For me, in the top probably 6 or 7 pound-for-pound fighters of all time, Do I run the gauntlet? No, we'll be here all night if I had to say my my pound-for-pound top 10 of all time. Everyone would disagree, but I would still have Floyd Mayweather very high on that list. Where are you, Glenn? Yes, I've got Floyd Mayweather in the top 5 pound-for-pound fighters of all time. And on that note, we'll leave it at that. Hang on, Batman. The cheater himself, Margarito. Mosey sorted that. Yep. Yeah, Margarito. As I said, don't count him as a credible opponent. I just don't. Yeah, he destroyed Corrales, dropped him like 5 times. That's right, he did too. He made a mess of a lot of them, didn't he? All right, guys. Well, before we get even more involved, hang on, Batman, one more. I know Mosey failed a test, so technically it was a cheat also, but didn't have concrete in his raps. Yeah, good point there, Batman. All right, guys, that's going to do it for tonight. Really appreciate everyone tuning in. Make sure you watch Walking Boxing every morning. Now, last week, 2 apologies. I didn't actually mention we weren't going to do the Wednesday pound for the Dream Fight episode. I was at our pub for State of Origin, but I will be doing it. Glenn, Floyd's not top 5. I am going to be doing it. Speak of Floyd Mayweather, he's going to be on Wednesday night. So, Glenn, make sure you tune in. I'm sure you're not going to pick Floyd in any of those fights, but on Wednesday night, we're going to do dream fights. Floyd Mayweather, we're going to match him against all those guys. And yes, I'm going to put in Antonio Margarito in there just for you, Glenn. So make sure you tune in. But guys, have a great week, and we'll catch you next week on Talking Boxing. Thanks, guys.